Let me tell you something about McDonald's that most people never realize. You think McDonald's sells burgers. Everyone does. But the real money, billions of dollars of it, comes from something completely different. McDonald's is one of the biggest real estate companies in the world. And once you see how this works, you'll never look at those golden arches the same way again. Here's the thing, when you walk into a McDonald's, someone owns that restaurant. But it's usually not McDonald's, it's a franchisee, a regular person who paid to run that location. And here's the part that changes everything. That franchisee doesn't just pay for the name, they pay rent to McDonald's because McDonald's owns the land and the building underneath them. So every single month, thousands of franchisees around the world send rent checks straight to McDonald's headquarters. Good month or bad month, the rent is always due. And that is the real secret behind the empire. But to understand how this happened, we need to go back to 1954. Back then, McDonald's was just one small burger stand in California, run by two brothers, Dick and Mac McDonald. The food was good, the system was fast, but it was just one restaurant. Then a man named Ray Kroc walked in. He was a milkshake machine salesman, 52 years old, struggling, looking for one last big break. And when he saw how the brothers ran their kitchen, he saw something nobody else did. He didn't see a restaurant. He saw a machine that could be copied thousands of times. So Kroc made a deal with the brothers to start opening new McDonald's locations. And at first, it didn't work very well. Here's why. Kroc was only earning a tiny percentage of each restaurant's sales, less than 2%. He was opening locations all over the country, but barely making any money. The numbers just didn't add up. And this is the moment where the whole story almost ended. McDonald's, the company we know today, almost never happened. Then a man named Harry Sonneborn entered the picture. He looked at Kroc's struggling business, and he saw the problem immediately. And he told Kroc one sentence that changed everything. He said, "Ray, you're not in the burger business. You're in the real estate business." Here was the idea. Instead of just letting franchisees open wherever they wanted, McDonald's would control the land first. The company would buy it or lease it, then build the restaurant, and then rent it out to the franchisee. So now McDonald's wasn't just collecting a small slice of burger sales, it was collecting rent. And rent is reliable, predictable, and it goes up over time. That one idea turned a struggling burger company into one of the most powerful real estate machines on earth. So let me show you exactly how the money works today. Say you want to open a McDonald's. First, you need to prove you have around $500,000 in cash, not borrowed, cash. Then you pay an upfront franchise fee, around $45,000. Then you invest somewhere between $1 million and $2.5 million to build and equip the restaurant. And after all that, you still don't own the land. McDonald's does. So every month you pay them. You pay rent, often around 10% of your total sales. And on top of that, you pay a royalty fee of around 4 to 6%, just for using the McDonald's name. So before you've paid your staff, before you've bought a single bun, McDonald's already has its hand out. And here's the part that locks you in. You sign a contract for 20 years, 20 years of rent, 20 years of royalties. If you want out early, you lose almost everything you put in. Now, let's look at the actual numbers, because this is where it gets unreal. In 2024, McDonald's brought in around $26 billion in revenue. But here's what almost nobody notices. Most of that money didn't come from selling food directly. About $15.7 billion came from franchised restaurants, rent, royalties, fees, money from franchisees doing all the work, while McDonald's simply controls the ground they stand on. The other 9.8 billion came from the small number of restaurants McDonald's runs itself. And here's why this difference matters so much. When McDonald's runs a restaurant itself, the profit is thin. After paying for food, workers, and everything else, it keeps only about 15 cents of every dollar. But the money from franchisees, it keeps around 80 cents of every dollar. 80 cents. That's not a restaurant business. That's a landlord business wearing a clown costume. And it gets even bigger. Over the decades, McDonald's bought up land in the best possible locations, busy street corners, highway exits, city centers, places where thousands of cars pass every single day. Back then, that land was cheap. Today, it's worth a fortune. On paper, McDonald's land and buildings are valued at over $40 billion, but that's the old purchase price. Analysts at Macquarie estimate the real market value of McDonald's real estate is closer to $120 billion. To put that in perspective, if McDonald's spun off just its real estate, it would instantly become the largest real estate company on the planet, bigger than any dedicated property giant alive today. And the value keeps climbing year after year, whether they sell a single burger or not. So here's the genius of the whole system. The burgers aren't really the product. The burgers are what keeps customers coming back to the location. More customers means a busier location. A busier location means a more valuable property. And a more valuable property means more rent flowing to McDonald's. The food exists to make the real estate valuable, not the other way around. Ray Kroc understood this better than anyone. He once said it plainly, "I'm not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate." The man who built the most famous food brand on the planet told everyone the truth. We just weren't listening. So the next time you walk into a McDonald's, take a look around. You're not really standing in a restaurant. You're standing inside a piece of real estate owned by a corporation, run by someone who pays that corporation rent every single month for land they will never own. The burgers, just the bait. The land, that's the real business. And now you finally see it the way Ray Kroc did. If you learned something new today, subscribe. Because every week we break down how the biggest companies in the world really make their money. The truth is always stranger than the menu.